Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on the Influencing on Camera podcast. I have my good friend here, Lauren Kendrick with YellowBirdSolutions. Thank you so much for being here, Lauren.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here to talk about everything that's happening.
Well, you specifically, I wanted to have you on because of really your evolution in 2020. You're like a Pokemon, right? Like you start as one and you've evolved into something different to the point where you actually started your own business. And I know a lot of people out there did that this year.
Yes.
So what happened in your situation that led you to building your own business?
You know, it was just a lot of different things that pushed me. I think that happened to everyone. Everyone was like, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to do this? And then they're like, you know what? I guess I'll just do it myself. And so that's kind of what happened. Well, not completely by myself. I have lots of people helping me, but
we have to stick together. But yeah,
that's so true. Especially in times like these, because the first thing that happened was the restaurant that I had worked at for 2.5 years got shut down, and like 40 people lost their job. And so I tried to apply for unemployment. Doesn't feel good to have to do that, but I tried. And, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. I know that they had a flood of people. So, cause I applied to 15 different places, and then finally I got one, and I was like, I couldn't work enough hours and make enough money to pay the bills and go to school at the same time. So it was really like a time and energy kind of thing where it's like, I'm not getting paid what I need to live. So
yeah. And that was a job, job, just above broke. And that's why you had to really get pushed in the other direction to develop this YellowBirdMediaSolutions. But what is that?
Well, what I want to do is I want to help people with the things that maybe they don't want to do, or that they don't know how to do, or that they don't have the resources for. So with social media, that can be kind of frustrating and kind of hard to navigate or know what to post or who to connect with. And then there's video editing that people sometimes don't have the tools to actually get those videos up and running and looking good and stuff like that. So those are the things that I am focusing on. And then also just things that are boring and people are like, I can spend my time doing something else. I don't need to put all these contacts into my email. I'll just go pay Lauren to do that.
Actually, I think I've said those exact words. I don't have time to do this. I'm going to pay Lauren to do that. And I think it's really important that you brought up the fact that a lot of people don't have the tools to edit video, because people are saying like, oh, I can maybe try and edit on my phone or something like that, which that's fine to do that way. But when people need to have professional looking videos, it helps to have a strong setup, but sometimes even if that's not perfect, the editing can kind of save you a little bit. You have the right kind of computer, the right software, and the ability to get it done in a professional way and in a timely way, which I think is a really cool offer.
Oh, yeah. I thank you, by the way. I don't think that it's good to spend your time doing something that is going to take you more time than someone else will. Like if it's not going to be worth it for you to sit down and figure out how to do something, and you don't know how to make it look good, or you don't have the tools to make it look good, I think your time is better spent finding someone that can help you with that.
And you're of the generation that grew up with computers and cell phones right away. And that videos online and stuff is just a way that you guys naturally look up information. Back in my generation, which is really not that far from yours, but it's far enough, we used to say, okay, I'm going to Google it. And now you guys will say I'm going to look up a video.
Right.
And you were telling me the other day about how you looked up how to do something on your car. What was that?
Oh yeah. I'm just constantly killing the battery in my car. So I'm always, and I don't, I can just look it up. I just look up a video on how to connect the cables and the cords and whatever. And then it's okay. But
I know correctly without shocking yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I could die. So I think I should do this right.
Because it's little supercomputers that we're carrying around that is just a wealth of information. We can find anything. I mean, we can order food now without talking to anybody. That's how powerful these things are. And I was reading a news story about a baby elephant in Thailand that got hit by a motorcycle. Did you read this one?
I did, yes.
Yeah. And so the guy pulled out his cell phone, to give it CPR, and he looked up what the elephant's anatomy was. I mean, and he saved the elephant's life. Like it got back up and wandered off. So I guess that's what elephants do. But I mean, that's amazing. He was able to save a life because of a YouTube video.
Yes. Oh,
like,
yeah. And
that's shocking.
When you say it like that, like when you say it like this big thing was able to happen because of a YouTube video, I think people need to broaden their horizons or maybe just their point of view and realize that so many things are possible just because of video and just because people are putting those things out there and we have access to that.
Yeah. So. And I think a lot of business owners don't utilize video enough because it is so much work, and they're maybe afraid of like giving away the farm is a term that I hear a lot. But when they show themselves as somebody that knows what they're talking about, somebody that's an authority in their field, that's going to make those connections with the rest of that audience. So what would you tell somebody that, you know, even somebody like me that has a bunch of videos on their phone and just hasn't edited them, hasn't put it out there? I mean, what would you tell them to encourage them to get out there and do it?
I would tell them this is not as scary as you think, and I can help you. Like, send them to me. Just like, you don't have to stress about doing that yourself anymore, really. And video, when it was first coming out and stuff, I mean, that was so hard and such a niche thing, and not everyone could even use it. Like, people were like, oh, I don't have, like, home videos were not a thing forever. Like, and now everything is documented, and it's a lot easier, but also there's a lot more people that can help you with that. And so I don't think it's definitely not as hard as or scary as it comes off to be.
Yeah. And so we were also talking about the other day just how the world has changed with COVID and how much we're using resources of like the internet and of video that we've never used before.
Right.
And I mean, that's good and bad, but there's a lot of negative out there. So how do you help people come up with content that's positive? Is that just like that you're naturally positive, or how does that work?
Positivity takes practice. Like, it's something you always have to remind yourself, because even though things are so bad right now, I would say I've had most of my days have been good, even though things are so bad. I like every day I wake up and I'm like, I would just rather stay in bed all day, and everything is like sad and dark. I'm in pain, like emotionally, whatever. But I like, anytime I'm feeling like that, anytime I'm feeling extra sour, extra bitter, I try to think about the sweet things, like the good things. Like that morning I woke up and there was just enough milk left for me to have cereal. I was like, bless, that's amazing. This would be I would not be having cereal right now if it wasn't for this little bit of milk. And some people could see that and be like, oh, I have to get more milk. But I see it and I'm like, there's enough. Like, it's gonna be okay.
And I think that's why it's so important for me to like bring you in when I do things with my business, or if I'm, you know, we've been on so many road trips together working on stuff, because I'm so glad you've branched off into your own little like sapperling. And I'm really proud of you, and I want you to flourish. But I know when you're with me, I kept you half the time. When I say keep you, like I bribed you to come with me because you're always so happy and positive and everything is great. And even when you've had like 2 hours of sleep, you're still like, let's do this. And it's such a breath of fresh air as a business owner that we're used to our daily thing, and you come in fresh and you're like, yeah, let's like figure out how to like make this laundromat exciting, or whatever it is. You have such a positive attitude that I actually wondered if you like slept in a music box or something that was like, you know, special, because you just were always so happy. But I know that everyone does have sad days. I know that a lot of people are struggling. The whole world is struggling. Like literally everyone that I know, including myself, is struggling, but you're still able to find a way to have a positive spin on that, which I think is so powerful. It's so powerful. So thank you for being.
Yeah. I kind of love it. I love it when you bring me in and you're like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. And I just get to be full of, I get to just, because some people have told me that I am like annoyingly positive. But so when someone's like having a bad day and they're literally asking me to be positive, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got you. Like, I am going to make this so fun. We're going to have a great time, because there's no use in like sitting in your misery. Like, there's no use in looking at something and being like highlighting the bad parts. Like, there's no use for that. But what is useful is, you know, giving yourself energy and being excited about stuff. And even when it sucks, Because it does sometimes.
It does.
um, it's kind of like being on a run. You're one step closer to being over with it. Like, you know.
That's a great way. That's a great way to say that.
Well, I just went on a run the other day because my boyfriend made me do it. And I was just thinking, like, I just can't wait to pass that tree up there, because then I'll be closer to the finish line and I'll be closer to being done. Like, you know, just, yeah. Even when things are bad, it can be okay.
I got this question the other day and I wanted to bounce it over to you on how you would answer it, because they were asking me, Jade, I heard that only the first 5 hashtags count for various social media stuff. And I heard that maybe you should do all of them. So what do you suggest? And I'm like, let me ask an expert. So what is your take as somebody that is of that, like, the people that have started with smartphones since forever and are really accustomed to using it? What do you feel about hashtags?
So hashtags are one of those things that people think are harder than they are. And they're so easy. Like probably one of the easiest things. However, it can be, you have to know that, like, you can't just word flood your posts with all these hashtags. Like, I think about it as a consumer. Like, when I'm scrolling through things, I'm like, oh, cool, Becky did this, whatever. And then if I see like 50 hashtags under it, it's annoying. It's kind of a little sickening. And it makes, I don't know why, but it makes me mad. So like, you have to be intentional about your hashtags. You have to be like, they should have a point. I don't think there's any magic number of like, oh, use 3, don't go over 10. But I don't think that exists. As long as like there is intention behind all of your hashtags, then you're good, because people just want the information that they are looking for. So if you're overflowing that or not putting enough, then they're not going to get that.
So how do you feel about hashtags cross platforms? Like, should you do different ones for different things? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, this is why I say it's a mistake as a business owner to only use one of those things, because you have consumers who might never, ever get on Facebook. And if you're only on Facebook, they're never going to see you. So yeah, it's important to make sure that you're available. People have their preferences. So you should make yourself available so that they can find you in the way they want to.
That's awesome to say it like that. And I know that there's a lot of tools out there that, we can get somebody like you to create the posts and all that. And then we just like have you pop it onto one that will like push it out there at certain times of day and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of great tools out there for social media. Absolutely. I just think, like, especially for myself, it is so hard to come up with content sometimes because I'm in my own head. I do this all the time. That having somebody that is a soundboard being like, I don't know what to post. And you're like, well, like Chinese New Year is coming up. So how do you feel about that?
What did you do yesterday?
Like, what did you do yesterday? What's bothering you right now? Or what is something people are doing in your industry or whatever that you can't stand, and how would you fix it? Like, these are ideas I would never think of for myself. I'm more like, I just want to stay in my lane. I just want to like do my work. And, you're an extrovert. And I think for social media, it helps to have somebody on your team that is an extrovert that's out there saying like, hey, we should do these things. I don't want to do them. I want to be an introvert. I want to hang out in my shell.
Right.
And I want somebody like you being the rabbit or the hare or whatever out there, like running laps. I know you don't like to run, but I mean, at least you know what the tree is or whatever. So
yeah, no, I think that's really important. You're totally right. I am such an extrovert. Like I get my energy through other people. The more people there are, the better I feel. But I know there's a lot of people that are like, if there's more people, that's just more like, it's draining me. Like I need to re-energize by going off on my own. And I'm like, no, come here. Like, so true. I know. I many of my friends are also introverts. And I think it's because like when they need a positive person, I'm their girl. Having a team member that is ready to go do something, just having a team member that's like excited is just very helpful.
Super helpful. And that's I think why some people keep you. So just to like kind of give some background to this, the YellowBird Media Solutions was not your first business. Is that correct?
No, it wasn't. Yeah. I had a coaching business before. I started coaching when I was 15, but I got my own business when I was 18, and I've been private coaching ever since then.
And what did you teach?
I was a figure skating coach mostly. And then after like a couple of years after I started kind of entering into hockey a little bit, but mainly figure skating coach. That's what I did. That's what I loved.
And What did you learn from that experience? Your very first business, a lot of us out there have had multiple businesses. You learn a lot from that first one. So what did you learn from that?
So much. So many like hard lessons. Because when you're young and inexperienced, people can tell. And so I think people could tell that if like I just needed to make the money. I just needed to, well, and also I loved it. I really, really loved it. But when I got taken advantage of sometimes. And so one of the biggest things I had to learn was like put my foot down and know that I am worth what I say I'm worth, or what what I need is that I deserve that. And if someone isn't willing to work with me because of something, then I don't have to work with them. Mm-hmm. Like I can make my own decisions. If we're not going to be good together, then we're not going to get together. And I can say no now, as like before it was kind of like, oh, wow, okay, like pay me half of what I'm asking you to pay me. I'll do it. And it doesn't work like that. Because then once you start with someone who's able to get you to knock your price down like that, or do things for free or stuff like that, then it's easier for other people to do that too. One, because they have the example, and two, because now you feel like that's something you should do, and you shouldn't. Yeah,
that's really knowing your value, because I mean, we both taught figure skating, but you are a far superior teacher because you could do so much higher level things than I could do. I mean, I couldn't teach a flying camel because I couldn't do one anymore, but you have a beautiful flying camel and you were able to pass that along to your students. And that's where that value was, that even though I was much older, I had more teaching years on me from teaching other things. I was not the better teacher, and I was definitely not the better choice. And so you understanding your value and helping others understand your value, I think, was so important. And now that you have that lesson, you can still do that with your new business. You know your value, you know what you're providing. You have invested all this time, money, and energy into the software and equipment that you need to edit and to post videos and to help people with their Zoom and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you just do so much that investment has to be considered as well. And so I'm really proud of you that you started in kind of the hard knocks kind of place, because I feel like a lot of people are in that right now. Like scarcity is a thing. And so we're like, yeah, I'll do it for that much. Or yeah, I'll do that. I usually charge this, but I'll do it for this much. Like we're doing that because we're afraid.
Right.
And there has to be a line. So how would you help somebody understand their value in that line? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that if you're sitting there, and it's just always go with your gut. Because every time I got taken advantage of, I knew something was wrong. And if I trusted myself a little more, if I'd felt like I just knew my worth, like I would have been able to make a decision that didn't make me feel so wrong. Like it just, something in my stomach was like, this is wrong, but I'm going to do it. And now I have done that. I've made those decisions where I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I feel better about it, because I always know that around the corner, there's going to be someone that does want me and does like value me the way that I value myself. So don't feel bad about turning down an opportunity that makes you feel bad, because there might be a better opportunity right around the bend.
Oh, that's such great advice for people. And that is hard. It's a hard decision, but when somebody's not a good fit, it's hard work for both of you. And when you have somebody that is that perfect fit, it's like, it's not work anymore. It's just fun.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone wants to have fun at work if we can. It doesn't have to be work. It can be fun.
I know.
So
yeah. Remember when we stayed in the yurt together?
Oh God. Yes, I do remember. For those of you that don't know, I'm not an outdoorsy person. I'm not a camper. Lauren is. She goes like on the weekends, really has a good time with it. And we stayed in a yurt, and I knew what a yurt was because I have a background in anthropology. And I was like, oh, a yurt. Okay. And then we stayed in one, and I was miserable the whole time. I hated it.
We had some fun.
But Lauren made it fun. The HR department was there with us, and she made it fun.
Brea.
Brea was good there, and she was fine with it. But, even in a bad situation, because I had a good team, that it was completely manageable.
But you didn't have to do it alone. I was there.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us are feeling alone because we can't see each other. But
that's so hard.
Technology, right? That's what you're really advocating.
Mm-hmm. My dad and I FaceTimed for the first time when the pandemic started, like, because we never thought to. I know, right? Like, we never thought to do that before. But then I was like, well, we have this tool. So, like, the bad thing about the pandemic is that it's happening, but the good thing is, like, it's forcing people to think differently and to try things that they might not have tried before and actually work so much better. Like those like little codes that are at restaurants now where you don't have to touch the menu.
Yeah.
I would so much rather just bring my phone and not get that menu. Like so much faster, so much easier. Like it's people are thinking innovatively or in new ways. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good point. So Lauren, really quick, tell people how they can get a hold of you. I mean, what do you operate via email or Facebook, or how does this work?
You can reach me via email at YellowBirdMediaSolutions@gmail.com. Or if you've never searched a hashtag, try out mine. Hashtag YellowBirdMediaSolutions.
Oh, how fun. So you gave somebody something new to do if they've never done it before. That's always exciting. I love calls to action like that. So Lauren, thank you again for coming on and sharing your vulnerabilities and talking about what your transition was like and giving everybody a little bit of hope. I think we all needed it.
Thanks. I loved it. It was such a good time. And if you ever need some hope, just let me know because I'm here.
I'm here for you, right? That's what you used to say to me. All right. Say it one more time for the audience. Just say like, I'm here for you.
Okay. I'm here for you.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Influencing on Camera, and we'll catch you next month.